Hey guys, I wanted to make a video explaining the GoFundMe. Some of you know my story, some of you don't. Back in May of 2010, when I was 22 years old, my family, my oldest son, husband, and I were heading out to pay bills, and it was terrible weather that day, absolutely terrible, but bills have to be paid, and it was his only day off that week, so paid bills. We started hydroplaning on a highway that was close to our house, and we ended up hitting trees. Now, right before we hit, I remember thinking, I'm going to die. This is it. I'm about to die. I don't care who calls me crazy. I swear to God, I heard a voice tell me, you have to pick up your legs. You have to pick up your legs now, and I did. It's a very good thing that I did, because the floorboard came and met the dash. The dash met my seat, and I broke 3 bones in my right foot because it was stuck in the middle. If I hadn't have lifted them up, I either would have no legs or I'd be dead, because I would have bled out before the paramedics could help me. My husband broke his right femur and had to have a rod put in it, and I broke my back in 5 places. Interesting fact with spinal injuries, you don't get pain medicine until they determine whether or not it affects the spinal cord. So I laid there for 12 hours screaming and cussing and yelling and begging for pain medicine. My L4 was a compression burst fracture. In other words, it couldn't handle the pressure my spine was put on it, and it basically exploded. I remember the nurse looking at me and saying, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I want to warn you, it looks like someone took a hammer to a cookie. But I was in so much pain, I didn't care. I just looked at her and said, okay, can I have pain medicine now? And she said no. And I remember being mad, but she said no. My husband had surgery the next day. I had surgery a couple of days later because my neurosurgeon that they called in had to work with his team to devise a plan because my back was so bad. I spent about a week in the ICU and another week in a regular room in the hospital. My very sweet mother-in-law, my second mom, she took us to her house and cared for us while we were recovering from our surgeries. And my son was bounced around from different members of our family that was taking care of him. And I am eternally grateful to them, to everybody. Right after the first surgery, I showed up with an infection in my back, and I started having to have my wounds packed. It turned out to be MRSA, which is a resistant form of staph. It didn't take long, only a couple of months, and it turned into sepsis, which is when it gets in your bloodstream. Half of all people with MRSA sepsis die. 50% mortality rate. And at one point, I'd given up. They couldn't figure out why my immune system wasn't working. They tested me for AIDS and HIV, and everything came back negative, which baffled them even more. But eventually, my immune system did kick in 2 surgeries later. And I ended up being infection-free. It took 6 months. I spent 6 months in bed not knowing what planet I was on. And fun fact, strong antibiotics and pain meds destroy your teeth. And hopefully I'll get that fixed soon. I thought that was the worst of it. I thought when I overcame MRSA, that was it. That was it. A little bit of pain, but I'd be okay. I had our second son, and it wasn't that bad. I did need hydrocodone at the very end, very sparingly, only when absolutely needed, but I made it through. It wasn't that bad. And then my pain specialist pushed epidural steroid injections to help with pain because it was increasing. At that point, I was on fentanyl 75 patches, Imascotin 15, and Xanaflex. I finally caved in and started getting the epidurals. And that would be the biggest mistake of my life. I had somewhere around 10 of them. The last one, I remember, hurt so bad. it hurt. And I told my husband that night that there was something wrong. My body didn't feel right. Something's wrong. And I swore I'd never have one again. I didn't. I refused to let them touch my spine again. A few months later, I started getting nerve pain and weird sensations, and I'd already been diagnosed before with sciatica, so I assumed that these sensations I was getting was, my back's messed up. It's just pinching a nerve, but it felt like something was biting me when nothing was there. I felt like something was stabbing me. Sometimes I felt like my bones were snapping, or warm water running down the back of my legs. And then one day my inner calves went numb. And it was that way for about a week or two, and it started spreading. It spread to the entirety of my calves and started spreading up my legs and into my groin. I was hospitalized for fear of quadia equina, which would require surgery. Instead, I was diagnosed by 3 surgeons with something called adhesive arachnoiditis. Adhesive arachnoiditis is when an injury has happened around the spinal cord. And it causes chronic inflammation of the middle lining around the nerves, which they call the arachnoid. After time of it being inflamed, it starts causing scar tissue to build up around your nerves. It engulfs them. It starts blocking off flow of spinal cord fluid, and they slowly start dissolving. I learned all of this. I learned of the chance of paralyzation. I read where doctors said it gives you the same level of pain as bone cancer, without the relief of death, is what it said. You have to live your entire life with the risk of bone cancer, with the pain of bone cancer. And I'm sorry I'm stumbling over my words. I've been having a hard time putting them together lately. Anyway, I never received any treatment for it. And then I found out I was pregnant with our daughter. A few months later, my birth control had failed. And my pain specialist just dropped me. After 5 years on fentanyl, morphine, and muscle relaxers, I was just suddenly dropped. My obstetrician freaked out. He tried to get me in with another pain specialist because of the pain that I was enduring, because withdrawals from the medicine could cause a miscarriage. But I kept hearing the same thing from everybody. They didn't want to treat a pregnant woman that was not established with them, or they just didn't want to treat a pregnant woman. So when the withdrawals started, I used CBD oil with no THC to help, and it actually eased up. It eased up the withdrawals. I went the entire pregnancy without treatment. My GP tried to get me on with a neurologist, but they told me there was nothing they could give me during pregnancy that would be safe. And usually with arachnoiditis, because of the hormones, women's symptoms tend to decrease, but mine didn't. They increased. They increased drastically. I developed tremors and jerking in my arms and hands. I started getting symptoms in my arms and hands. My feet and palms started feeling like I had dipped them in hot oil. They were on fire, and I couldn't get it to stop. Everything I tried didn't work. I even tried splashing cold water on them and putting pointing it towards the air conditioner, but the cold water didn't help. It actually felt like 1,000 knives going into my feet. I spent most of my pregnancy in tears, and many days just curled up crying and screaming. But I have a beautiful daughter now. She's wonderful, and she was worth it. She was so worth it. And I'd hoped the symptoms would ease up once I had her. And I thought, once I had her, I get the pressure off my spine, maybe it'll be better. But it didn't. Instead, my symptoms have gotten worse, and they continue to get worse. I fall a lot now. I have a hard time remembering things. I have a perpetual headache. Every second of every day, even right this moment, I feel like I have hundreds of ants, fire ants, just biting me. I feel like I'm being stabbed. My bones feel like they're breaking. I've been all of this time without treatment. I'm supposed to be on strong anti-inflammatories to stop progression, to slow it down. And I've been on nothing, so it has just been running rampant. Every 2 to 3 weeks I flare. And when I flare, I have to use a walker. I'm pretty useless. I just lay there screaming. I beg for death. I beg for anything to make it stop, just to make it stop for a little while. I haven't been pain-free. I haven't had a moment without pain in years. I don't know what it's like to live without pain anymore. I grew up with my mom telling me God won't put more on you than you can bear. And I've started to question, when does it become too much? How much can one person take? Because when I flare, I'm starting to wonder how many more days like this I have in me. I've got 3 children that need me, so I can't off myself, but I don't know what to do, because I can't keep going on the way I have been. And an article was published that told my story and my struggle. And I was contacted by someone who works with the only arachnoiditis specialist in the country. The one to go to. The only one that's functioning at the time. And they want me to come out there. They are in Malibu, California, and I am in Phoenix City, Alabama. But they want me to come out there. They want to see me so they can treat me. They got me in touch with a charity that'll help with the flights. I just have to get money for the appointment. Right now, they don't take insurance. And the first appointment lasts several hours, because she's going to go through my entire medical history, give me a full workup. She's going to go through a packet that I have to fill out. It's going to take a while, and it's a very expensive appointment. One that I can't afford. I mean, I get a disability check, but it's very little, less than $800 a month. My husband works full time, but we've got bills and 3 kids. I need everyone's help. I can't afford this on my own, and this is my one shot to really get treatment. I need this treatment. I need this help. The neurologist I see now, he's not wanting to give me anti-inflammatories. He's wanting to give me something to help with the nerve pain, but he's not wanting to treat the cause, and if the cause isn't treated, I'm just going to keep getting worse. I need to see this moment. This is the first time in years that I haven't felt completely doomed. This is the first time in years that I haven't been without hope. That I've had hope. And I'm in a scary situation now. My legs have started going numb again, like they did when I was diagnosed. But I never regained feeling on my inner calves, and it spreads. The entirety of my calves and feet are numb, and just trying to travel up my thighs again. And I'm scared of what's going to happen this time. I'm absolutely petrified. I was not helped by the fact that I've started having seizures. And I actually have to go for an EEG soon. Um, so I'm going to ask everyone again, please share, please donate. I need help getting to her. I need treatment. I need help. Love you guys.